Hello everybody, welcome back to the United Stand. Brighton 1, Manchester United 0. Brighton thoroughly deserved that win, in all honesty. We weren't up to it, we weren't up to scratch. It's another loss to a top 9 side away from home. I think it's probably nearly 30 goals conceded away from home against top 9 side as well. I'm here with the gang. Beth has found herself sitting on my left today. You're not hosting, Faz and Kev. In all honesty, as I say, they thoroughly deserved the win. But I actually do want to start off by just saying, is what Brighton are doing now what we are actually trying to achieve in terms of the playing out from the back? And these comments from Pep Guardiola when they came out, and he said that they were the best first phase build-up play team in, I don't know if he said Europe or the world, regardless. Is that what we're trying to achieve? Because I actually, I don't watch much of Brighton, but watching them in the most recent games that we played them, they are a joke. And these are players that Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster, right? They're not, you wouldn't take them at Manchester United. So why can't we do it with Lindelof, Maguire, Martinez, Verratti? Do you know what I mean?
They're not the problem. They're not the problem.
Who is the problem then? Who's
the problem?
I'm just saying, the way that they pass it out from the back is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, unbelievable. Is it Jason, his first name?
Jason Steele. Jason Statham.
Jason Steele.
I don't know, something like that, yeah.
The goalkeeper was brilliant at passing out from the back. The way they bypassed our press, actually, it embarrassed us multiple times. Casado is just...
Yeah, we'll get onto him.
Brilliant. And just, as a team, as a unit, you can tell they've worked on it. You can tell they're very good at it. We have players that are good on the ball, but we don't have players that complement each other. I'm not obviously saying it's not just De Gea, but, the amount of times we have to hoof it long, give them the ball back, and next thing you know, they're attacking us again. Then we've got to hoof it long, give them the ball back, they're attacking us again. You've got to be able to build up possession from the back. It starts back to front. We don't have a midfielder that complements Casemiro. That's a problem. Casemiro's trying to do too many roles himself. He's losing the ball a lot. The attack's getting lost. There's just no connection between the entire team. We need to massively step up. And I think this game shows Man United need a very good transfer window. There's quite a few positions that we need to improve on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, just Brighton, as I say, I haven't watched much of them, but in the most recent games, Faz, just they trust in each other so much in terms of when they go back to the keeper, and as much as they played very well, we didn't play well today, right? So we've complimented them, and they did press high, and they can just play out of kind of anything we put towards them. And do you honestly think that what they're, not necessarily exactly what they're doing, but just being able to play out from the back comfortably, that is what Ten Hag is possibly trying to achieve and get to, whether that's next season or the season after?
Reason why he was hell-bent on Frankie de Jong. It's one of the main reasons why. Comes in centre-back, will take the ball, will carry the ball further up the pitch. And that's what we don't have. When you're playing teams like Brighton, or when you're trying to play out from the back, you must have colleagues you can trust the ball. So if I have the ball and I'm releasing it to someone, I have to first know that I can trust him to even receive the ball and then pass it to someone else. It's a trust thing. And if the keeper doesn't trust himself, if the back line doesn't trust themselves, if they don't trust Fred, then it's just not going to work. You're going to be hesitant to pass the ball. And that's what you saw. People were hesitant to try and move the ball quicker. So many times we had opportunities when we can pass the ball quicker, and we're just taking our time, we're passing it slower. It's just there's no intensity on the play, even higher up on the pitch. Forget the goalkeeping side, even just in midfield and in the final we're just not faster with the ball. And that's what you need to do, because Brighton, they're very comfortable with just passing the ball around. No problem for them. They don't care if you're Manchester United, if you're Liverpool or whatever. They'll pass how they want to pass, and they'll keep the ball how they want to keep the ball. Their players, a lot of them, they get into our team, but some of them, they don't get into our team. But that doesn't matter when you have...
Is that based off that's based off names though, right? Just
yeah,
first
right.
Off, you realistically wouldn't put any of their midfield off their name up against the likes of even Fred, realistically, but that's just because
Casado
Fred plays. Yeah, but that's just off the basis of Fred being a Manchester United player. On what they have shown today and ability-wise, loads of them do naturally walk into our team, right?
Yeah, but you still have to ask where some of the players come in when you're talking about total football. Total football is you must be able to carry the ball, receive the ball, be press resistant, all of these things. And a lot of these players can't. Lindelof got caught today at one point as well. And as much as Lindelof and Shaw were really good partners, it shows the cracks show. And Fred, can you ask him to carry the ball? No. It shows Bruno at one point gave the ball away, had to foul Casado. These little bits, it adds up. We held off at the end of the day. We held off for a 0-0, and I was happy until the 3rd minute or whatever. But you just have to say to yourself, we want to be able to take games to teams, and we can't do that. We can't take the game to the team.
I would say the one word is clinical, and that's what Manchester United aren't. I'm listening to this, and I think the fact that we conceded this goal so late on obviously changes the fan forum, it changes everything. We're feeling down. Whereas at 0-0, we'd probably sit here and go, do you know what? Before that game, I'd have took a point, considering where the teams are. But we need to even look at the first half. Manchester United could have been 2-3-0 up. We had chances for Martial, Anthony, Rashford had good chances as well. Listen, Brighton, I thought, grew into the game more than we did.
Brighton had many good chances, though.
They did as well.
More chances than us.
After 10, 15 minutes, you were looking at this game, and the way that it was going, it was like a game of basketball. You could almost look at it and go, this is going to be 3-4, 4-all, the way it went.
True.
And then it sort of started to change. There was positives from a Man United perspective. I thought the performance of Wan-Bissaka this evening, again, against Mitoma, that was like a heavyweight boxing clash.
Yeah.
Them two were just going at each other. At half-time, you'd probably say Mitoma was kind of winning it on points. Again, second half then, Wan-Bissaka just comes back into it. There are positives, because it's very hard to be brought down by the fact that McAllister scores this penalty. And I thought there are other positives. I think the fact...
What positives are there really, though? From
that performance of Wan-Bissaka, listen, we created chances, but the worry is what I've just said. We're not clinical, so we're not scoring goals.
But this is the thing that keeps
goals
on
change
happening
games.
To us. Brighton are a very, very good side, but in all honesty, that second half performance is not acceptable from Man United.
It's again second half.
A top nine away from home. We've not won a game. That is a disgrace. There's not any, for me, there's not positives coming out of this game. At the end of the day, we lost. We lost the game.
Look at the respect that Ten Hag's put on. He's under no illusion. Pep Guardiola said recently that Brighton, as an attacking force and the way they play football, are one of the best in the world. He wasn't saying this, as a bit of a joke or anything. Pep Guardiola's not daft. He can see that Brighton are brilliant. And we watched that Brighton team today. They were absolutely sensational to watch. The fact that even Ten Hag has started Fred with Casemiro, which, again, did we raise eyebrows at the start of that game, were you thinking? And for me, that's paying Brighton a compliment. He's obviously thought, I need Fred and Casemiro in there, as extra, what do you call it? Sort of extra defence in front of our defence. Because we know, listen, we're playing Luke Shaw, who, again, I thought was amazing, up till the handball. I'm not going to make him a scapegoat by any means at all. And Lindelof, a patched up back two. We are missing our first team back two. So again, if we're talking about taking positives out of it, we've gone to Brighton, who are a team banging form. Yes, we've been beaten 1-0. It was very late on in the game, but for periods of the game, we were in this game as a contest. The counter-attacking football from Manchester United was impressive.
Let me put this out there. Jason Steele, the centre-backs, Estupiñán, don't get into Manchester United. That's 4 players. That's, 30-odd% of the starting 11 already. And yet still, they're able to play so well out the back. This is a huge concern. Why? And why is it that other teams can get stronger in second half and we can't? I need to ask questions, in honesty, what Ten Hag is doing with the team in half time as to why he can't get them to be more confident on the ball. It's just because we have better players.
Would you know what? De Gea can't pass it out from the back the way Jason Still can. It just
you count him out.
He's a better keeper, but he can't pass it out from the back the way he can.
They have Danny Welbeck up front.
Yeah, I know. What Deserby is doing with his team is fantastic. Brighton are brilliant, but Deserby, I like him a lot. I've been looking at quite a lot of things to do with him, and he said in an interview, I've literally seen the words come out of his mouth in an interview. They asked him, why does he play out from the back? Why does he like doing that? And he said, well, as a manager, when you kick it long, you've got a 50-50 chance of winning the ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you pass it out from the back, you've got a 100% chance of having the ball. If you start with it, all you've got to do is keep it. He said, I prefer them odds than the ones that are kicking it long every time. And it's true, yes, playing out from the back, sometimes you're going to make a mistake. It does happen. But in the long run, playing as a team, it's so much better if you want to keep possession, if you want to build up pressure from the back. Yeah. We can't do it. I've seen Man United recently, since Varane and Martinez have been injured, turn into a team that's relying on balls over the top and counter-attacks from Rashford. It's not working. Yeah. We were doing it at Spurs second half.
Dalot did it so many times, spraying the ball to Rashford, hoping he was going to get there.
We're just inviting pressure on in second half. We did it at Spurs, hoofing it long, inviting pressure on. Next thing you know, you're 2-2 because you're inviting Spurs to come onto you. Yeah. Again today, you know, we had opportunities and like you said, we should have scored. But you're inviting pressure on. The goal didn't come from that, but you're inviting pressure on constantly. It's not sustainable, in my opinion.
But at the same time, goals change games. You know, if Manchester United had, and obviously we're looking back at it now, if they had taken the lead, it changes the dynamics of the game totally, but they didn't. But I'm just trying to say, you know, the way that Manchester United played up until that point.
Said, but we didn't.
Yeah, and the thing is, the away form is really, really worrying because the home form is second to Manchester City.
I don't think we've lost a game in the Premier League at home. I'm pretty sure. Maybe that's wrong, but let me get through some super chats because there's loads. Welcome to the Members Club, Joe.
Yeah, we did Brighton first game of the season.
Oh, there you go, lost one. 5 Cantona says, when we brought Sancho and Weghorst on, they offered nothing. Sancho didn't touch the ball once. Shaw was man of the match tonight. Before that, K Flo, Ricky deserves flowers. We don't create quality chances. Any striker will get frustrated. Our team doesn't create enough team goals. Wingers don't cross or create. It's been 3+ years of this crap. Selfish. Leo J, I said this to Mark already, we need 2 strikers, 2 midfielders and a new winger. Blimey, there's a hell of a lot of super chats coming in, by the way. Daniel McGrath says, have you noticed Ince constantly clearing his throat a bit, habit or genuine cause for concern? Sign Casado now. Shaw was man of the match. Shaw from man of the match to an insane handball. Wan-Bissaka was brilliant. Cassie back to his lethal self. Sign a striker. I disagree with the Casemiro being back to his lethal self, in all honesty. Rory C says, missing chances in the first half aside, are we unfit or what's the story in the second half in recent games? We still have a better squad than most. Dale, member for 30 months, says, why didn't Eriksen start? Still undefeated with that midfield. I think it's pretty obvious that why Eriksen didn't start, and that's, I thought Fred played all right, to be fair.
He did.
And what Fred offers that Eriksen doesn't is just ratting around in midfield and just being almost in 4 places at once. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but Eriksen just doesn't offer that. And I think for majority of the game, Fred did all right. He had a few. It was
extra protection moments, for the back four. Yeah. That's what the word I was trying to get out earlier. Yeah. Obviously, Erik ten Hag, he's not daft, man. He's done his homework on this team. Like I said, testament to Brighton, but he's looked at that and thought, I need a bit of extra protection in it. It's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, there's loads coming in. International 2675 says, let's talk Bruno. He's a workhorse, but not world class. He does not rank in the same category as De Bruyne or even Ødegaard, just slightly above average, comparing him to James Maddison. Andy Cheetham says, Pellistri in, Sabitzer in, Martial out, Rashford up front, Fred benched. And Darren Mullany says, if we don't beat West Ham on Sunday, I will be scared that Liverpool will get the last Champions League place. We don't even want to think about that.
I've already said, if that happens, genuinely,
we don't want to think
flight
about
to Cuba where there's no signal, my Twitter's getting beleted, I'm just not even, bye. Like, genuinely, if that happens, I'm gone.
That is a nightmare,
I'm gone.
I mean, we're what, 4 points ahead of them at the minute with a game in hand, right? So as much as I'd prefer the points over games in hand, I always said that, right? Because you want what you currently have rather than you're hoping and praying. But
unless you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. But
you come out with that comment.
You know, I mean, we have got a game in hand. I don't know who that's against. Is it Chelsea?
Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going off their form, you'd love to say...
Trust Lampard to get his only win against
it will
us.
be.
Honestly,
it's written in the stars, man. They'll be well up for that.
But I want to talk a little bit about Casado because this kid is absolutely ridiculous. I feel like there's always someone like a Brighton just sprout. You know, they just birth someone. And I know he's been around for a while, but to be able to play as good as he has been under recent performances in centre midfield to then be asked to play as almost an inverted fullback when attacking, going to centre midfield, and be realistically, Rashford didn't really get a look in apart from maybe a couple of times. One time he took it past him, maybe should have scored, but he's ridiculous, and it's what we need, right? Whether it's cover, whether it's a starting position, he is absolutely ridiculous, Beth. I mean, I know you're a big fan of Casado.
Honestly, I've been a fan for a while. I've done a couple of videos about it, but he's officially nailed on my #1 midfield target for United in the summer. And
it's going to cost a lot of money.
I know, and in a way, Liverpool fans, by the way, talking about like getting ahead of themselves with McAllister, that deal's probably going to happen with McAllister. I'm glad about that, actually, because United were interested in McAllister. He's not the midfielder United should be going for. Casado is the person United want. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, he can even play as a fullback against Rashford, who is such a... He's a tough winger to go up against. I mean, Trent said how hard Rashford can be to go up against. And at the start of this game, Rashford looked in the mood, and Casado quietened him just over the course of the game. He is brilliant. His first touch is excellent. The way he can beat the press is amazing. Deserby lets him have free roam in the first phase, and he's a big cog of that press and how they get to beat it. 21, and I know people say Premier League proven is, Premier League proven is an overrated thing, but if he brought him to United, he can do it in this league. There's no questions about it. Yeah. He comes straight in. Casemiro, because we know he's going to be he's going to be playing less games as he gets a little bit older. He's in his 30s now. Still going to be #1 choice, of course, but you want to keep him fresh. Casado can come in, learn under Casemiro, who's won these Champions Leagues, won these La Ligas, play the 6 role when he's not available to play it brilliantly as well. He can do that. And then when Casemiro is playing, he can even play as an 8. Like today would have been a perfect game to play Casado in instead of a Fred.
Do you think Man United spend 80, 90 million
he's worth that.
On a squad player that he's not going to...
He'll start.
He can't be an understudy, can he? I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to start. I'm saying... who do you then knock out the team because you've got Eriksen and you're not taking Bruno out.
I'm not saying he's an understudy. I'm saying he can learn the 6 role under Casemiro, but then when Casemiro does play, he can play the 8. I think he will get plenty of games at Manchester United away from home. He'd be crucial in that midfield. I think Casemiro's got a red card in him. We all know that.
He should have been sent off today.
He should have been.
He was walking a tightrope.
We're going to be playing Champions League, Premier League. There's so many games, and he comes into that midfield, and he does play. Eriksen will play certain games, but he will play a lot of games in that midfield. And I honestly think he is. Look at what Real Madrid have done in the sense of they've gone from Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos, and they transition it into Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, Bellingham. The seamless transition is, if we want to transition, and we should be thinking about transitioning Casemiro now, not that he's brilliant, he's my first choice by far, he's brilliant signing for us, but what's he got, 2 or 3 years left? Push. You've got to look ahead. Casado's 21, and he's excellent, and being coached in this side as well is the perfect development for him. I honestly think, people talk about De Jong. I said before, De Jong might as well put up a banner on his Twitter saying, I don't want you. He doesn't want to come. We've got to get real. Casado's desperate for a big move. He wanted to go to Arsenal. He wants a big move. I think if you paid the right money, you could get him out of Brighton. That's the guy we should be going for, in my opinion.
And never mind just Casado. You look at the scouting network. If the new owners come in, one of the best things they could probably do is sign up Brighton scouting network, because it is absolutely immense how this team
it's not the scouting
football club,
Kev, because
it is a collective from the. If we talk about the Glazers at Manchester United top to bottom, the rot starts at the top. That is a club, Brighton, who are absolutely bang on the money at the minute, and the fans and everyone are buying into what's going on at Brighton.
What as well? It's the trust that they have. Remember, we wanted Jude Bellingham, we couldn't get him. We wanted Camavinga. We scouted Casado. We were going to pay 2.5 mil. I remember it now. I just started at United stand. We scouted Casado. We didn't go ahead and make them purchases. So you're right in the sense of the Glazers, and there's someone there not doing having the trust. But We have scouted players before. We've just not followed through with it.
I don't think it's the scouts, because the scouts will always talk to other scouts. Scouts will always know who's the next, amazing kid in the block and whatever. It's the decision making coming above from scouts, because scouts will go and do a report to the heads, and then the heads will go and say, right, this is the allocation. Shall we spend this much? Is this the risk worth taking? I kind of want Manchester United to start taking risks. Real Madrid bought Valverde for 5 million.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be the big name signing, but we're at Manchester United where, how many shirts is he going to sell?
Yeah,
who's this player? It shouldn't work like that.
Start taking risks, buy young goalkeepers.
Like we always talk about McAllister.
Yeah, buy some risky signings, and if it doesn't work, I mean, Real Madrid got rid of Odegaard, and look at it now. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. We just need to get rid of sentiment and this thing about, because look, if Casado comes in, touch wood, I hope he doesn't flop or anything, but if he comes into the system and he doesn't start performing and etc., because we've been down this road before as well, where we buy big name players and some things just don't tick, and we're like, what's going on here? I'm not saying that he won't work, but he clearly works in a system that we want to play. That's why we want to go and get him. But why are we not looking at going and taking risk? We spent 200+ million whilst being in Europa. Nobody's done that. 250 million whilst you're in Europa. You came 6th. So money's clearly been spent, and you want to spend another 200 million this year. That's over $500 million spent in 2 seasons. And, questions have to be asked as to why is money getting spent randomly and certain things are not working. That's the disarray, obviously, the club is in.
But we will have made progress if we finish top 4 this season.
Yeah.
We have won the Carabao Cup, regardless of what people will knock it down and say it's not the most prestigious trophy, which we all know that. And we have an FA Cup final to look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, if you
can
look forward to it, right?
It's not all doom and gloom.
No.
At the end of the day, you still have, not much positives from today's game. You took a loss. There's not really much positives, but at the end of the day, top 4 is still there. We actually started the season saying, oh, if I get top 4, I'll be happy. Forget all the, maybe a semi-final, whatever, I'll be happy. We're looking like we're going to get our top 4. I'm still very much hopeful. We got our 1 cup. We're in another final. So as fans, from where we were, how the organisation is run, it's actually really good. What's happened this season? It's just the games make us feel so down and etc.
What worries me, though, massively, is if anyone saw the comments today, Ten Hag basically said he has no idea what's happening in the transfer window yet.
He wants to, because the sale or the takeover now is hanging over the club.
Liverpool are about to agree a deal with McAllister. Real Madrid's just agreed a deal with Jude Bellingham, and we don't even know. The manager doesn't even know what direction we're going in. It is worrying.
Yeah, we need to act quickly.
These clubs are moving now. They're making moves already while this season is still going on for next season. Yeah, we do not know what's going on. And Ten Hag, whether you like it or not, the way you have to look at it, he does not know what he's got to work with for next season, because we do not know what is going to happen.
The last few games, which is even a little bit more worrying for me, which I hope we do take action in the summer, I think it's become more and more obvious where Man United's weaknesses are. We need 2 strikers. We need 2. We need a world-class striker, and we need another striker as well. But Martial and Weghorst both aren't good enough. We need a midfielder to partner Casemiro so badly. There's other arguments all over the pitch. People have preference, but there's certain stark areas that
it was always going to be done over time, and we do have to give credit to Erik Ten Hag. There was so much deadwood to get rid of, and this was always going to be done over a few transfer windows. You can't, you know what I mean? It's not FIFA. You can't just come in and go bang, bang, bang. Right, see you, Phil Jones, see you, and just bang, all these players I'm going to bring all these players in. It has to be done progressively over a period of time, which is what he is doing.
I still think that we're actually going to see more outgoings than incomings in this.
I don't mind that. Like me,
but it needs to be done.
Me and Adam were saying, this summer, get the players out who aren't good enough. We all know who they are. There's a
I
big
think we'll be lucky
list.
to do that. There's probably 8 players that need to go. I reckon we'll get half.
I'd say there's probably 12 players that need to go, and then you probably get half.
Yeah, but that's subject to bringing other players in, right? There's Maguire, Fred, McTominay. It's all well and good saying we need to get rid of them because it's quite obvious that we do, but they are players at the end of the day that will need replacing. There are players who aren't even at the club who need to go first before them guys, right?
But this is also you have to think you're bringing in players that you want to start. Not players that you want to learn off other players. So you have McAllister, who has time to learn off Ten Hag and the current fullbacks and learn the league. But then Anthony doesn't have time to learn the league. He's just had to go firing. Sabitzer didn't have time to learn the league, had to go firing. Eriksen, he's had experience before, he's okay. Casemiro, even at the start of the season, needed time. Now, if you're going in and bringing 5 starting brand new, fresh players, putting fresh tyres on this Formula One car, and then you've not calibrated it, or you've only got pre-season to calibrate it, you hit the season running, and everybody knows it's important to start collecting points from start of the season. You're fresh, everybody's ready. It's going to be difficult for even Ten Hag, because he's going to have players that he's used this season who's going to leave, and now he's got all of these bunch of new players, along with the bunch of players that he's brought this season, to try and make them gel together and try and get them to play the football that he wants to do. It's going to be a big task for him. So it's very important for him to actually sit down now and say to Van der Gaag and Steve McLaren, like, you know what? These are my 4 targets or 6 targets. Let's get 4. I know exactly what I'm going to do with them. Let's start planning now. Top 4 for me, anyways. It's going to be okay. I have that much faith. So. It's going to be okay. I'm not going to go with recency and say, oh, it's done and dusted. It's not. But he needs to plan, and he's a guy who brings in a book. Remember at the start of the season, he needs to plan now.
He planned the drink breaks on the
He planned the drink breaks. He needs to know now what him and his backroom staff can do with the players going forward. He needs to know which players he can afford to let go. He needs to know which players he can afford to bring in. And this is the thing. We want to know where the club is going.
It's squad depth again, isn't it? What did I say to you when I come in? I said, Brandon Williams was on the bench again this evening. You know, when you look into a bench to change a game, yes, what was it? Eriksen was on there, Sancho, Sabitzer, whatever.
Palestri was on there.
It was always going to be a tough game. Palestri, there'll be some shouts for. But again, I hate to use Manchester City as an example, but I am gonna. And when you look at their bench, you know, what they have done, the investment there at Manchester City, and that, if that's the road that we are going to go down, by God, they're bringing on Phil Foden, Alvarez. You know, the bench is just insane. Mahrez, and you're looking and going,
Lewis,
absolutely,
Ake.
yeah, game changers.
I'm even looking at Newcastle when they need to take Isaac or Wilson off. They've got the other one to come on.
Yeah.
I mean, Isaac and Wilson are both brilliant
and
strikers.
it's such a juggling act to keep these players happy. You know, you hear so many stories. Oh, he's not happy. That Manchester City just seems to be a collective thing at the minute, where they're going for everything. They're winning, and everybody seems to be happy. It was the same under Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United, when Man United in '99 were going for the treble. Exactly the same thing. We had Solskjaer, Sheringham, Cole and York, 4 strikers that would have walked into any other Premier League team, and somehow Sir Alex Ferguson kept them all happy, kept them in the game, knowing that Manchester United, great things were going to happen that season, and they did.
When you're in an organisation that's winning, you're not going to want to leave.
You want to be part of it.
The aim, the title was that if you leave Manchester United, you're downgrading.
You're finished.
You're downgrading. So that's what it is. Where, you know, if we don't sign players like this or be linked with players like this now, another big club is going to come and swoop in.
Arsenal might go again.
Yeah.
Right, let me get through some super chats. Loads coming in. Alan Kenny says, our players are not based on possession since Van Gaal. It's still counter-attacking. There is still that mentality issue with the players. I mean, it's quite clear there's a mentality issue, right? Well, we've been knobbed however many times this season, right?
We have touched on it, haven't we? We've said.
Barima says, Man U is not a competent team, so we won't jump on Casado or any defensive midfielder until Casemiro turns into an old man and can't run anymore. Skydiving Heck says, don't worry, lads. We're getting Sir Jim and the Glazers. They will put the Manchester back in Manchester. Guessing a hint of sarcasm is there with that one.
I hope so.
Dylan got to say, we won't say that's why. Oh no, got to say Beth is looking gorgeous as always, and our attack was dreadful, and got a feeling United won't get top. I mean, I guess you mean top 4. There is so many super chats. The chat is going mad. Darren Mullaney again. Alex Ferguson used to have players that was not well known and make them stars. That is what I would like. That's what we're talking about there, right? Taking risks on players, certain players that aren't well known, and
it is. It's about having an identity. Sir Alex Ferguson had an identity. You know, United played attacking football then. Maybe it's taken Ten Hag a bit longer to get his message across, but yeah, any manager will want our players to fit the system, isn't it? Yeah. And how it goes. And then it makes buying players so easy. You know, Jurgen Klopp had it at Liverpool at a stage. Who would have gone for Andy Robertson at that time? I kind of laughed at the time. I was like, who's this?
Yeah.
You know, when he'd been all right for them. Like,
Yeah. Rory C, is Rashford having a drop in form, or was he in a purple patch post-World Cup? I think a purple patch, and now reverting to type, far too greedy. No Jumper says, Deserby is better than Ten Hag, let's admit it.
Right, can I just say on that point, because I've seen a lot of people saying that. Also, thanks for the super chat before, that complimented me. I forgot to say thank you to that. But the Deserby and Ten Hag thing, people saying, I saw someone on Twitter, I would sack Ten Hag now to get Deserby in. Deserby came into a team that already could play very good possession-based football. Ten Hag has literally got to do back to
he's
front.
trying to implement that now.
Deserby, by the way, brilliant manager. I think Brighton have definitely upgraded. I think what he's done with Brighton is brilliant. Absolutely, definitely a good manager up there. But to say you swap Ten Hag out for him now, it's a completely different kettle of fish coming into Man United. Completely different. And Ten Hag has got a team that is literally nothing what he would want, and he's got to change it. He's still not playing the style of football that he wants to eventually
fans
play.
like this don't consider that Graham went to Chelsea and look what happened. He went to Chelsea, bought a turtleneck, had a fresh haircut, and got sacked.
Put his flat cap on.
Yeah, got sacked. So
Exactly.
And they're not going to win anything this season. So are you going down the Pochettino route where you look at Pochettino and think, brilliant manager, and then you go, well, what's he ever won?
I mean, look, Brighton, the thing is as well,
Deserby's great,
and I mean this with
silly.
no disrespect, but Brighton are a club, like many other clubs, that have a ceiling, right? They could somehow sneak into European football, right? 5th, 4th, whatever it is. They won't be a regular challenger for Champions League just because the amount of money that they're just not going to have the same amount, unless they get taken over. They're not going to have the same amount of money as your Newcastles, as your City, as your Liverpool, as your Chelsea, as possibly Man United. Even under the Glazers, we still spend more money than right. It's just not gonna happen.
But their model is actually proving at the minute that you do not have to spend.
They're
big
overachieving, right? And I think their fans, and all credit to them, are quite comfortable in doing that and knowing that they are almost a feeder club. Casado, McAllister will leave. They'll turn a huge profit on what they spent on them, and they're quite happy to do that because they're confident in themselves and their model that they can bring new players in, and they'll just keep doing the same thing. If they can finish top 10, top 8 every season while turning over ridiculous profits in players, I think they're quite competent in doing that, in all honesty.
The only argument against that is if they'd go down the route of what Southampton did, because at a time they were churning out players, the likes of Luke Shaw and that, that Manchester United bought, made massive profit, and look at them now, bottom of the Premier League.
Maybe look at after, say, 5 years, next 10 years in a row, they do get top 8 finishes and do kind of sneak into whether it's Conference League or Europa League. The owners might then look to sell, and then you bring in serious money. You never quite.
But you have to also understand this season, the league has been a bit off as well.
I mean, it happened
because Liverpool and Chelsea are nowhere, haven't been in this. Chelsea haven't, but Liverpool and Chelsea haven't been in the top 4 conversation, top 5 conversation for a while. Liverpool only just starting to creep back in. If Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Man City, Tottenham, all of these teams are populating the top 6, Brighton and all of them won't have a chance to get in, let's be honest. So they are overachieving, and they've kind of hit it on in the season when some of the other big boys are not performing as well.
There's a chat, it's not a super chat here, but someone's saying, your sense of entitlement is staggering. Why do you think these other clubs will just allow you to come in and cherry pick their best players? Those days are long gone.
Not true.
It's called money, mate.
It is. It's money talks.
Yeah,
Casado wanted to go to Arsenal, did he not? He did. He's just signed a new. He will move in the summer most likely, unless they somehow manage to get into the top 4, and he will go for 100 million. And he will.
Cucurella at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? He's not for sale. He's not going.
Jota at Wolves.
Everybody has a price in football. Everybody.
Alan Kenny says, we bought Dan James, took a risk, didn't work out, sold him for a profit. And I believe he is one of the only players that we've actually sold and made a profit from.
James Garner as well.
As of late. Adja Boy says, there is nothing wrong with our scouting network. We were actually favourites to sign Casado, but the board refused to complete the deal. John says, listen, if we don't get a full sale, I feel we will fall lower than we are now. McAllister is already going to Liverpool. United are still sleeping.
Not that bothered about that one, to be fair. Like, and McAllister's a good player, but I just don't think he's what we need.
Well, that's the thing. What the board refused to sign him.
Yeah.
And that's what my point before was. You know, this starts at the top.
We were going to sign Camavinga, but then we signed Ronaldo.
The
and
rock
said,
sets
no,
from the top
money.
and it filters down. So, if you've got somebody saying, what a fantastic player this is, I think you should sign him. And then all of a sudden the board are saying, well, who's this? Again, it'll come down to, you know, how many Instagram followers has he got? You know, how many likes does he get on Facebook? Is he going to sell shirts? No, well, rubbish, man. We'll go for somebody
we didn't
else.
think that when we were broke in January and crying out for a striker and went and picked the one striker that was left. I don't even think he was left. We just begged Burnley to let him come, and we got him. Ended up getting Sabitzer as well.
Honestly, Faz doing his mileage right now, I would give him the more faith than what Weghorst has got going on. Honestly, like no disrespect to the guy, but it's painful. You know when he's coming on. I genuinely was so close to saying today to these, I was like, Weghorst coming on, and I shouldn't do this because I don't want to be negative surrounding United, but I felt like saying, honestly, I'll give you 500 quid if he scores, because you just know it's not going to happen, and it's frustrating.
Yet to score a Premier League goal.
His last goal was against
Who called it, by the way?
Prolific.
Do you remember on the show when you said to me, who was it that said to me, how many Premier League goals will Weghorst score? And I said, I wouldn't be surprised he scored none.
I said he'd score more than Haaland, but Rory C says, we absolutely 100% need an upgrade on Eriksen, who can play in all games, not just the easy games, too often a passenger in the big games. AB, thank you for the super chat. Leo J, Beth is correct. Look at City, they have Haaland and also Alvarez. We need 2. I mean, even if we could have 4 and they won't be as good as them 2, to be fair. So, Aram says, if we don't beat West Ham on Sunday, then I'll start worrying. For now, Brighton in a good run and we are just running on fumes. I will never forgive this group of players if they bottle the top 4.
It's true. No, it's true.
After the season,
Frank, member for 9 months. Cheers. McGrubber says, let Beth talk, lads. Usually we have to shut her up.
Yeah.
James Long says, we're massive. Revenge is so sweet. But we're in a final and you're not. Arif says, just for equality, lads, you all look gorgeous as usual as well. GGMU.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
one, mate.
Thank you.
Right, we spent enough time talking about Casado. We're over half an hour into the show, and there's loads of other things I want to talk about. Martial, I thought he was crap, in all honesty. I don't think he was very good. Maybe that's a little bit too harsh, but I think he pulled out of 50-50s, you know, like he was going out of fashion. I don't know if he's just scared about getting injured again. I don't know if that's like in the back of his head.
You can't afford to carry players like
No,
that.
of course not. I'm not making excuses for him. I just don't know if that is why he's doing that. He's never been really a physical player, has he? Anyway, but I don't know if that is something. I don't. Kev, what do you? Marshall, he had a stint on the left wing as well, didn't he? For portions of the game, him and Rashford to switch him.
But... You're asking me. I'm in the wrong seat here. I feel like I'm being taken over. Like I can just hear Ricky's head, you know, or Ricky taking over me or something and saying, Martial was sound today. Best player on the pitch, but he's pulling out of challenges. I don't know whether that is a mental thing, injury-wise, that he's thinking, I don't want to go into them, but at the same time, he shouldn't be on the field if, you know, he is in that kind of mindset. I said it ages ago, this season is the main one for Anthony Martial. He was drinking in the last chance saloon. Possibly tonight, I'd go as far as to say I think he's probably had his last drink, and Manchester United really have to be considering letting this man go. Now, I'm sure somebody will take him on, but again, I talk about the mismanagement of the club. The guy is on big wages. So it comes down to Anthony Martial and what move he wants to make next. I'd like to think he's not the type of player that's just going to sit on a contract for the sake of it. You know, if he can't...
He has to move last year, didn't he? He has to move when he had that Sevilla.
If it comes down to that, again, it's purely wages. But listen, I've never questioned his ability. The one thing I will say, I think at this moment in time, and it doesn't say great things, but he's definitely the best number 9 at Manchester United because he's up against Weghorst. I've always said I think he's a better number 9 than what Rashford is. I've always preferred Rashford on the left, which I thought he showed good glimpses today of cutting in off the left on his right foot. Martial's definitely the best number 9, but again, it doesn't say much. His hold-up play, everything about Martial is absolute class, but I think we're getting to this crossroads now where
It's crunch time, isn't it?
It's a big club. It's not like he's been here 6 months, a year. It has been a long time.
How long's it been now?
Since that goal against Liverpool.
7 years?
Yeah,
7 years,
years.
I think.
Yeah, the debut goal against Liverpool, all the hype. We have seen glimpses, but at the end of the day, man, you have to look at it and think, you know, I've said the word consistency before, and Ricky always slanders me big time. He's not had a chance. He said he didn't have a chance under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho and that. Injuries have hampered this guy. Can we rely on him?
I'm not being funny. I'm a Martial fan, and I think if he wasn't injured constantly, I'd absolutely want to keep him. I think he has got ability. I do. And I think he does play well, but I'm sorry, as a number 9 for Manchester United, it's just not good enough.
You can't count on him. He's not reliable.
Not having chances,
with the injuries.
He's an excuse. Harry Kane, compared to this guy, would be night and day.
Facts.
Night and day in this team.
Say it again.
Anybody,
For the people at the back, say it again.
Anybody that's actually, can put in a shift week in, week out, he's not reliable. He's not reliable at all. You get about... Honestly, you used to get quite a few good performances out of him a season. Now, what would you say, 5 good performances a season?
Mannequin Martial.
That's just not good enough. And I love this player. I got Martial tops at home. I've always.
You have what?
I know I've got Martial on the back of my tops. I've been already.
Ricky gave him a.
I've been a Martial fan for quite a long time, but I'm at the end of my tether now. That performance tonight is just not acceptable. And bottling 50-50s was annoying me. And I tweeted out about him. People were saying, "Beth, what do you expect him to do? He'll get injured." That's a problem.
So?
We can't be carrying players that are not going into 50-50s because they're going to get injured. It hampers the team massively.
Casemiro was on a yellow card this evening. He wasn't pulling out the challenges. I was like, calm down, man.
I want to... Go on.
I said, Ricky wanted me to read this out to everyone. He messaged me today. I texted him saying, Martial keeps bottling challenges. It's annoying me. He looks quite clunky. And he put, still in it, probably sub him shortly and end up losing. And then that is what happened. But anyway, he put, and yes, I do think he's playing it well, passing it well numerous times. I expect more from him in my opinion. He put, how well do you think Welbeck's playing? Better, worse or similar? I put, Welbeck's probably playing similar, but I expect more from Martial than I do than Welbeck. And then he just kind of ignored me, and then he wanted to talk about. He sent me about that long paragraph on Bruno, and he wanted me to mention it. And he said basically the stats on Bruno, not when he's not available or playing poorly, is a load of rubbish because he said he's played 32 games and we've lost 7 of them. 1 defeat every 4.5 games. That's far too many. Many other have similar records, of course, but the actual point of saying we lost a game that Bruno didn't play in, no outfield player has played in more defeats than Bruno, so it's just twisting stats. That's what he wanted me to get out there. He wanted me to say it to the people.
You can manipulate any kind of stats.
I wanted to bring in
to suit your agenda.
I wanted to bring in a reference with Martial. So Ansu Fati had an injury. I forgot the location of the injury, but he's had surgery on that place, and there's a whole thesis on this as to why Ansu Fati has gone downhill, because the psychologists and the people, the science people were saying, because he's had an injury in one location, his rehab didn't go as well. He psychologically started putting more pressure on the other side of his body, which now then ended to him injuring the other side of his body. And then he got injured. He had a surgery again, and he had rehab again. I think he's had 3 surgeries, and he's been injured 4 times. When your body breaks down so many times, biologically, your body's starting to put more pressure on the side because you're a bit more hesitant. Your rehab, if it's not going fully, you're going to be a bit upset. Mentality, all of these things play a whole picture. And that's, as sad as it sounds, that's what's happened to Martial, because he's had so many injuries. His body's literally adjusted to him breaking down all the time. So normally you might see him take a bit of a risk and step to the right and have a shot. He's not doing that. He don't want to extend something. He don't want to pull something. Everton game, he pulled his, lower back, begged the manager to...
It's all different injuries.
Yeah, it's all
as well,
different.
Isn't it? It's not the same.
Because it's always different, and he's going to have to follow a different level of rehab plan. He's going to have to do fitness again. It takes a mental toll on the player. It takes a physical toll on the player. And it's a never-ending cycle. And I think in all honesty, even if he goes somewhere else, it's just at the highest level for him, I think it's done. His body's just done. He's had that many injuries in that many locations and that much rehab. I don't think there's any return from that. 1 or 2 injuries, sure. Life-changing injuries as well, you can come back. Luke Shaw's come back. Ross Barkley at one point came back. Because that's one injury, you focus on it. Kaka came back.
Van Dijk.
Yeah, Van Dijk came back. Well, he's
not
still,
playing
yeah,
very
he's
well,
still.
but he's came
But
back.
that's one injury. You come back, you can play at a certain level. When it's different angles of the body, and you're thinking, okay, I've injured my left side. I need to focus more on my right, so I don't put pressure. And then you think, okay, now I've injured my right. I can't focus on my left. It's just too much, and it's sad that, you know, either I think it's just best to just let him go. Whoever comes in for whatever money, just let him go and cash in, whatever it is, and someone will. Because we've had links come in for him, haven't we?
Anthony Martial is our modern day Owen Hargreaves.
Yeah.
That guy literally would go out in the warm-up. He would look up to the sun, you know, he'd break his eyelash or whatever, he'd be out for 2 weeks or whatever. It was ridiculous. Owen Hargreaves, and they were all different injuries, exactly the same as what is going on with Martial. And in the end, United had to bite the bullet. Yeah. You know, we let him go, goes to Manchester City. Exactly the same thing happened. He wanted to prove a point by going to Manchester City that it was remember, he put pressure on Manchester United saying it was their medical team and they were advising him wrong. He went to Manchester City, the exact same thing.
But I will say one thing, you know, it sounds like I'm defending Martial, and it might do, but it's not always that the player's made of glass. The club also handle things differently, because we know that there are certain managers who've rushed players. In some occasions, the players come out on top.
And said, if you don't
well, I'm not going to, but sometimes it happens where the club needs you, and if they think you're 80% fit enough, because the gaffer and the player are having conversations, can you give me 60 minutes? Can you push it to 70? Well, if you can, I need you, give it. Well, as you know deep down that you're not fit. We've seen in the Tottenham Amazon documentary where Mourinho's begging the doctor to sign Son off, and the doctor's telling Mourinho, I will lose my job. So these conversations are happening. And I think that's a similar thing that might have happened to Martial over his career, is he's had piling on injuries, and the managers have obviously believed in him because he's such a top player, and it's just led to, you know, a snowball effect, and now we're here. And it's just sad, because I like him. I like the kid, but
it is indeed.
Sad.
Right, more super chats. Alan Kenny says, next season there will be a chance for the 5th place team to get Champions League football. One of the reasons why the Glazers are hanging on. Andy says, Charlie Bobon, Martial crap needs to go.
Sorry, what was that? The 5th spot can get Champions League?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a thing coming in which is like coefficient.
Is it the points thing?
Yeah,
right,
where it can go to a certain league or something like that. Man United, HOJ says, give Luke Shaw the captain's armband. Honestly, he is brilliant. He also said after the game that we should be finishing our chances, and it's been a problem all season.
Facts.
Yes, I do want to bring up some quotes that Luke Shaw said, because I do think, apart from the handball, which he does, in these quotes, he does completely own up to, he has, I thought he was brilliant again today, in all honesty. I thought he was really good. He's come out and said top 4 is still in our hands, which obviously it is. He says, I got a little nudge in the back, but my hand should not be there. I've got to take it on the chin. Even before the corner, the free kick before that was never a foul. I'm not looking for excuses for what I have done, but there is no way that should have been given as a foul. Ten Hag also says we should have scored our chances. In the end, we lost control. The midfield was too open. Luke Shaw played a great game. The free kick that led to the corner was never a foul. So it's pretty clear that a lot of people are under the impression that it should never have been a hand, you know, the butterfly effect, I guess, that it should never have kind of led to it in the first place. But at the end of the day,
we can't make excuses.
Football, what goes around comes around. We were speaking off air, weren't we? Yeah. I think the game had actually finished in a COVID game where Bruno scored a penalty in like the 90.
Players had walked off the pitch, and they called him back on.
That was a proper injury.
That was crazy. Right? And we were all sat there absolutely lapping it up, and now, you know, it's not exactly happened to us, but it has happened. Now we are running out of time, and there's still a lot that I want to get through, so we'll be quick. No more big rants is all I'm saying. Casemiro, in my opinion, Beth, I thought he today was wasteful on the ball but was still very good out of possession in terms of obviously, a little bit erratic, probably should have been sent off, but in terms of reading the game and just depossessing the opposition and stuff. What did you make of Cassie?
His anticipation is top notch. It really is. He anticipates danger so well. He gets around the pitch brilliantly and he scans. He's a very good scanner of the ball. Casemiro, at the moment, for me, I don't want to make excuses for him, but I think the problem is he's not got a midfield partner that complements him.
I don't know if he's trying too much to overcompensate for what
he feels like he has to, because Fred can't pass a ball to save his life, and Fred had a good game today, but he can't pass. So Casemiro is trying to take the ball straight away and he's trying to pass it off quickly and create this momentum. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, the amount of passes he put wrong today is not acceptable. Like, so many passes it looks like straight to Brighton players. And the reason why I'm saying it's not acceptable is because I know what he's capable of. I've seen him ping unbelievable passes. His technique on the ball is fantastic. He's got one of the best techniques, I think, in the team, genuinely. So that is just not acceptable. It needs to be looked at. But Casemiro, what he needs to be doing, ideally, he needs to have someone next to him who can pick up the ball, progress the ball, and can get back and help him defensively, but can also progress the ball at the pitch. Like you said, we've not got a progressor. Casemiro's trying to do like a couple of things all in one.
Three jobs in one.
He needs to scan the back four, and he needs to make these tackles, obviously, and he needs to pass it off. And when he sees a ping in him, allow him to do that ping, because he's brilliant at it. But it can't just all fall onto him. You have Fred and Bruno pressing up the pitch. It's just Casemiro on his own.
Yeah.
Fred's playing basically it's like a front 4 or 5 even at times when Bruno's up there. Casemiro's left on his own. He's under pressure when he's got the ball to pass it off straight away. A couple of poor performances passing wise from him, but I honestly think it's indicative of what he's got around him right now. We need a midfielder badly, and I think once we get that midfielder in that suits Casemiro, you'll see him back to his best. And it wasn't a horrible performance today, but his passing just wasn't at the races, really.
Yes, Duncan, something like that. We will have played 62 games this season. Hope Erik ten Hag is paying close attention to what it takes for a top club to play a full season here. I mean, I think he's quite quickly found that out after the first 2 games of the season, in all honesty. Yeah. Whether you're going to play 62 games or just the bare minimum in the Premier League, you've got to be top notch for the whole every game. We
spoke about it. Look at City. They were playing Rico Lewis in as the fullback. They were mixing the team up week in, week out. People saying, what's Pep doing? They did drop a couple of points on the way, but Pep knew that they were on track. Everybody knows that this time of the season, coming into April, coming into May, but especially coming into April, it is crunch time. Now Pep, he's got his team firing, he's got Kyle Walker back, he's got his fresh first starting 11, that are his best starting 11. He's got them firing, they're not dropping points, they look unbelievable. They've come into form the exact right time of the season. It's not been poor this season, they've been good all season, but they've hit form right at the right time. Whereas Man United look like they're running on fumes, they're struggling. You need to be able to balance your squad throughout a season. Ten Hag, it's not his fault because he's not got a squad really that's capable. But that's exactly what you do as a manager, and that's what we.
And he was able to, let Cancelo go to Bayern Munich, on loan. That is. You were like, all right, okay, it's all right. Kanji, whoever goes in, they just fill that void. Play near enough 4 central defenders at the back. He's revolutionised how that team has actually been playing. They do not concede goals anymore.
Yeah, International says here, no issue, Cassie just can't do it all by himself. I think that is the overarching problem, isn't it? What we've just said there is he's trying to do too many things to compensate for what the other players can't really do. Like Fred is good at, and he's not always good at it, but he's good at one thing and one thing only, and that is just being a little Jack Russell and nipping at everyone's ankles and climbing people's backs and stuff. He's lightweight, he's not a very good passer, he is not press resistant. He's not very good Manchester United level, is he? In all honesty, and he is a player that a lot of fans do want to get rid of. Aram also says, we are so slow and predictable in attack. We miss the youthful unpredictability of Garnacho. We were saying that, weren't we?
Said that.
Defences are scared of him. At the moment, what Rashford is going to do, and Martial and Wout are poor. That leads me on to my next player to talk about, and that is Wout Weghorst. We touched on him a little bit earlier on. It's pointless, really, him coming on. That's the nicest thing I can really say about it, isn't it? When he comes on, you might as well be playing with 10 men in that current situation. He doesn't really offer anything. We can't counter-attack with him. and that is where we miss Garnacho, like the super chat said there, isn't it? Like,
can I just say something quickly? And this is, again, I'm not trying to shift blame onto people, because I actually thought Sancho had a really, really good game last game. Well, not a really good game, but he had a good game last game. And, you know, it was unfortunate that he got dropped, because I thought he played well. But today in this game, when I'm looking at Man United, bear in mind we paid, what, 75 million for Sancho? Something like that, 73 million? We're looking at our Brighton side. We need a goal. I'm thinking, God, I wish we could bring Garnacho off the bench. As bad as it sounds, when I saw Sancho coming off the bench, I thought, didn't have any faith that anything would happen. Like, we're reliant on an 18-year-old. Like, we miss Garnacho badly.
Because he's an impact player.
I wanna say two things. I remember, you know, a couple of good few forums ago, I said when Weghorst wasn't performing, well, he's not been performing anyways, but I said we deserve better, remember? And I was absolutely slated, saying, oh, why are you going at a player that works hard? Well, this is what it is. Now you lot learn. It's the hard way, but you learn. I said we don't deserve Weghorst. We really don't. But we got given it. In all honesty, we wanted a package from Amazon and we got it given from AliExpress. Yeah. That's what's happened here.
Daniela Stewart, I'm guessing he's not a Manchester United fan, has said, stop crying about how many games you're playing. You don't have to go for every cup.
Yeah, because
good mentality,
we could just do what Arteta did, was drop out of him and then bottle the league anyway.
Yeah, a bit weird.
But I don't know why Ten Hag doesn't use Pelestri. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there must be obviously a reason, right?
Yeah, but he's trusting Weghorst, who's the slowest player, can't win the ball in the air, doesn't shoot. The only thing he can do is hold up and pass the ball. That's all he can do. Puts him in a 10 position, puts him here, there, everywhere on the pitch.
To play devil's advocate, Weghorst has played good. As admittedly, it's not many, but he has had good games, right? He played in the 10 against Barcelona
but that's by force because Martial wasn't available.
But he still played well in. And I'm not advocating that Weghorst should be a Man United player, right? He has had good games. He has. It's a
stretch for me, anyways.
I think that's a stretch.
He had Barcelona away when he played in 10. It was like, whoa, what's going on?
He did a job.
He's played well. Ultimately,
I'd probably say one good
the
game. The
overarching thing is he hasn't played well. If you on the average, he hasn't played well. But I think he has had good occasions. But by no means does that mean he should be a Manchester United player permanently. I actually thought, and I remember saying this probably on a forum that. And again, I didn't agree with it, but I thought that Manchester United would go and sign him just because he was that workhorse and someone that you can rely on as your third choice, really. But I don't see that happening now. I think Ten Hag has realised since Martial has come back, even Weghorst, when Martial isn't in the team, Weghorst is still not playing.
Well,
right.
Even playing Rashford in the night, as a number 9, it's just totally different. I've said it before, Weghorst, man, it is like putting a set of roller skates on a horse. I'm throwing him onto an ice rink at the minute because he just looks so unorthodox when he comes on. To bring him on today at that stage of the game, what is the thinking behind that? Am I seeing the game out?
That's what it is. That's what it is. I honestly, today, and this is what frustrated me, when I saw Weghorst coming on for Martial, I knew we were shutting up shop for a 0-0. I knew that. Some people would say that's what we should have done because, it's a good point away from home. But at that moment in time, I'm thinking, why not, like you said, just bring Pelestri on, get him to run it, please. He's got something to prove. Put Rashford down the middle, scare the defence. Yeah. You've got an option of a long ball. Put Sancho on the left where he's comfortable.
This is the thing, though. Like,
why Weghorst?
But he does this park the bus thing. He's done a few games. He does it park the bus thing.
I agree with you in the fact of why bring Weghorst on, but you could have brought on Pelestri and put Rashford down the middle, and nothing could have changed that way as well, right?
But
just because that's the way.
He's done it so many
that's
times.
the way the game's going. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were getting battered either way. Like, whoever you put on, you could have just not brought anyone on. Just take Martial off, and Weghorst is as useful as no one.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, you have your best chance.
But what I'm trying to say is, he's done it before. This is my issue. Is we know he has it. He's taken the risk with Garnacho. And he's taken the risk where he's even told Garnacho play full 90 and make an impact. And he has. So why not take a risk with Pelestri?
If we were chasing the game.
And
0-0 would have been an all right result.
Have we not had games this season where we said Pelestri cannot go on loan? I was the one saying I'm going to go outside Old Trafford and say Pelestri is not going nowhere. He's shown so much signs of ability and ceiling this season alone. The kid is absolutely trying. He's 22 years old. 22 if I'm not mistaken. 21, 22. And he's dying, absolutely dying to play games, and he's only just had broken into the first team squad. His agent was unhappy with Manchester United at one point because Manchester United are not showing any interest in his future. But now Ten Hag has said, you're not going anywhere, you're staying, but only to just be cold on the bench. You've got a young, hungry, burning player in there that you should be just throwing and seeing what happens.
By the way, every time he's played, he's looked like getting a goal contribution or has got one.
It don't make sense.
I just think if the score was 1-0 with 15 minutes left, then he's looking at bringing him on.
Listen,
because we've seen it with Garnacho, haven't we? He's come on against Manchester City, sets up Rashford for the winning goal. It's when we seem to be chasing games. But 0-0, Brighton are the team that are kind of behind us. We're looking over our shoulder. We're probably thinking 0-0 would have been all right, and then worst case scenario, sucker punch at the end, really.
Yeah, just quickly, I want to but speak about this comment before we do move on to obviously West Ham, huge game away in 3 days, can be another huge top 4 kind of decider, I guess. And West Ham are fighting relegation battle, aren't they? So it's not a meaningless game for them either. But someone's put a comment in here saying a striker that scores no goals and never looks a threat can't have played well. I mean, surely we all disagree with that, right? Like, you can, just because you're not scoring, you can still play well.
Still
right? Obviously, your job is there.
I don't agree. I really don't agree. You're a striker.
Over the course of the season.
You're a striker.
Yeah, but you can still play
you
well.
Have to score goals.
You can't play well over the course of the season and not score any
but that's what I'm not saying. He's played well over the course of the season, am I? I'm just saying
he can still contribute something to the team.
No, but I don't like this contribution
Vegas
FC.
was never going to be prolific.
I don't buy all of this contribution FC. Even if you're contributing, you're getting assists. Even if you're contributing, you're getting assists.
It's still in build-up.
Yeah, you are.
Ten Hag said it himself that he expects all of his forward players to get goals and assists every game.
People don't like me saying the word pre-assist, but you're at least involved in the second pass before the assist gets in. So you're actually crucially involved. He's not crucially involved in
honestly,
it. He don't even get shots on target.
What we can put it down to, Ten Hag has not got the striker that he wanted. He's working with his hands tied behind his back.
Yeah.
If he went to the Glazers or the board or whatever and said, I'm after a striker here, they've probably gone, what do you want, 50, 60 million? Not a chance, mate.
Exactly.
Get into that loan market. Pick somebody out of there. I've worked with him before, I'll have to go for him.
Yeah. Are we crediting pass completion rate at this point? Oh wow, pass completion rate contributed. It's just at this level, it's not good enough. We want to fight for.
You can't score no Premier League goals and be considered good.
Not even top class strikers. Decent strikers make goals out of thin air. They still have that in it.
They have
the odd shot.
David De Gea's got the most clean sheets, but he's not the best goalkeeper, right?
He's one of the best right now in the league.
If a midfielder's not getting assists, are they not contributing to the team? You know what I mean? There's ways you go around it. Like, it's not.
Why?
I think
that's a mad comment.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
he's going to get the Golden Glove.
He's not one of the best keepers in the league.
Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to West Ham in 3 days. As I said, huge game. Kev, we'll come to you first with score predictions. Obviously away again. They're not a top 9 side, so we stand a chance.
Yeah, but we're away from home.
Yeah,
the away record's terrible, but yeah, of course we'll win. Manchester United, I have full faith in them. I don't know why after this evening, but I have a funny feeling. And you know, the one thing about this team I will say is, in the aftermath of defeat, we do seem to get a reaction. Now, I don't know whether that seems to usually be the games that are Old Trafford, which has been Fortress Old Trafford this season, but I'm confident we will actually win that.
Well, do you know what frustrates me is that David Moyes rested key players against City, and they're going to be fresh, ready to go against us.
Brilliant. Rice and Souček were on the
brilliant. Thanks, David Moyes. Honestly, it was just.
To get his.
Faz, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be very tough. Look, at one point they looked better against Liverpool. Between the two, but Liverpool obviously ended up winning that game, and I think our away form doesn't help. But again, whenever we get punched, we come back. Yeah, it's that I'm going to go off. And I think Ten Hag is going to get into these players, said, look, he knows the stats. He knows that the away form is terrible. So he's probably going to want a response from these players, and rightly so. But I still think West Ham, I think they've beaten Forest and Everton at home as well. I think it's a draw again. I'm just not full of confidence. People can be confident because of player for player, but you saw what happened today. We could see out a game, and then on the last minute, it could turn out and bite us back. So I actually, more than anything, I hope Garnacho's back. and is ready to play some minutes even because
No,
He
I
said
think
he's
he's
not
already
back.
said
Oh, he's not
he's
back.
not. Yeah.
well, draw it is then. I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw.
Said the same for Varane. Said the next two.
Unless we have an opportunity like we did this game where 90 seconds in Anthony threw one goal and he takes his chance. Chances like that, if they fall and we take our chance, then yeah, because we are creating chances, we're just not putting them away.
I'd be more worried if we weren't creating chances.
Yeah.
But
We're not
there's
creating that many,
positives.
though. We're not
But we're
creating
creating,
that many.
yeah, but
Look
there's
at-
but if
look
you
at how
take
many-
them, it changes
look how
the
many
game.
chances Arsenal create every
okay.
game.
But look at the chance.
Even
There's the
Liverpool create
amount.
loads.
There's the amount, and then there's the quality. We are making quality chances. We're getting right through on goal, and we just need to be putting the ball in the back of the
thing
net.
is-
Today there was 2.
The thing is,
in the whole
the
game.
Anthony chance right at the start, I guarantee you, even if that went in, we probably still would have had the same second half we did. Because we've proven that we've done that. We've done it against Spurs. We were 2-0 up, cruising, battering them. And I said before I came back up here, I said, it will just be us to throw it away. Like, that is what we've been doing. We're like first half FC, and it's like all of a sudden we're the best team since sliced bread, and then everything goes wrong. But we're going to end it there. Well, I know. What was your score prediction, just quickly?
I'm worried about that game. I can see a draw, if I'm being honest.
A draw. Well, we don't obviously want a draw.
Obviously
Bluntly, we don't
Obviously
want
not,
a draw.
but
We don't need a draw.
That performance didn't give me much faith. if I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
yeah. I mean, West Ham are not in great form anyway. Realistically, are they? Apparently, I did see a chat. Apparently, Rice, or I guess he means Rice and Souček, because they were the main players, obviously missing. Apparently, they were ill to
Oh, were
some
they?
degree. So whether they were, I guess you're still resting them, aren't you? Because they're ill. But I don't know if they were part of the squad. Don't know. I don't care. Savage says, huge shout out to all of you legends for making this night better. Great show, guys. Cheers. That seems like a good note to end on. In all honesty. Thank you guys for joining me, although it was a pretty poor game, 1-0 loss.
I don't think it was poor. It's just, it's
a sucker punch at the end, isn't it?
Listen, they didn't score in open play. That's all I can say. As much as they were
Yeah, but
amazing,
we
they didn't score in open play. We didn't score in open play. It was at times end to end. At times they got the better of us. They had more possession overall. But at the end, it's an unlucky handball. Unlucky handball. It could have gone either way. If Rashford had not took a shot at Jason Steele and instead gone far post, maybe if Anthony took a shot, it's fine margins. It's not a battering. We didn't get battered. In my opinion, anyways, we didn't get battered.
I think we
still have a game in hand
to lose the game ultimately.
Okay, but deserving is different to
Yeah,
winning
we
or
did.
losing.
We did.
People
Yeah.
deserve to win games and they don't end up winning.
We've had worse
Yeah.
defeats this
Yeah,
season
yeah,
where
yeah.
we've sat in these seats and been shell-shocked. I won't mention them, but
all
this
of you-
it's not...
You shouldn't be celebrating.
But yeah,
that.
but everyone watching, all of us, until 93rd minute, you were like, okay, we'll take this, right? It is what it is.
I wasn't happy with the performance.
Yeah, but you still take it.
You take it because
take it.
no
take the
distance
points,
has been made up, but that goal does kind of change
We're not going
things
to
now
Brighton
in the grand
away.
scheme of things.
Yeah, it's the manner of the goal.
We're
and
not
everything.
going to
the full
Brighton
3 points instead of us both sharing a point each, so it does.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's annoying. I'd say it's annoying. Yeah, a bit gutted, like, but...
Right, before we get onto another tangent, it's late. Everyone wants to go to bed. We lost the game of football.
Good night.
I don't want to speak about this issue anymore. Leave a like on your way out, subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll catch you on Sunday for the big forum after that as well. Hopefully 3 points.